And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Hope you are all doing well. Welcome to another episode of the Wisdom Transmissions Gathering here on Wednesday. And again, this is happening every single Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow, I will also be on rumble.com for the signposts, and you can join me for that episode as well, too. It's rumble.com/signposts live. So all one word, signposts live. You can join me there as we'll be looking into current events. So today we're going to be looking into another inner practice that I'm going to be sharing with you. It's something that I have shared before, but we're refreshing it again. Then we're going to be looking into an Adronis transmission. Adronis is going to come through, share his own wisdom with all of us. A wisdom transmission for sure. And then of course we'll be getting into Q&A for you guys. We already see quite a few questions on the chat already, so that's great. And then finally, we'll be wrapping everything up with a healing requests and group healing at the very end. So before we go ahead and get started, we're going to go ahead and start off with some announcements.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, etherx.co.
And yeah, just like me, I forgot to update that discount before coming on to the broadcast today. So it is actually 20% off right now. So we have a 20% discount store-wide off all products on Etherix. As you can see, the Source flashlights, the Taurus bed kits, and of course the healing code cards. We also have the brand new Source massage mats, and I've actually been getting some really good positive feedback about the Source massage mats. I've had people in that sense who have had some really bad back issues, and they started using the new Source massage mats over a couple of days, and their back's actually feeling a lot better. And that's because not only are you getting the physical benefits of a massage mat, but you're also getting the vibratory fields of etherics. You're getting scalar. You're getting biomagnetism, right? You're getting the source center vibration. You're getting the Schumann resonance to 7.83 hertz. You're getting the Fibonacci sequence oscillations that are widening and expanding and pulsing that field. So I'm glad to see that many people are getting the benefits of the Source massage mats. That is wonderful to see. If you guys don't know what I mean, you can go to etherix.co. You can check it out on the homepage under the newest arrivals. You'll see the Source massage mat there. And it is a wonderful technology. I'm actually using mine pretty much every single day, and I'm seeing some major improvements as well too. Muscles feel stronger. Immune system is kicking up. Vitality is getting a lot more stronger as well too. So I'm enjoying it as well too, as I have my own Source massage mat. So again, you can get that right now. It's 20% off store-wide. There's no discount code required, and the 20% off is good until tomorrow. Okay, so it's good till tomorrow end of day. So take advantage of it while it's here. And another announcement is I also have Janine coming up here on Friday. Okay, so we're doing a Wisdom Transmissions interview with Tarot by Janine. Okay, so she'll be coming on 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can actually find the upcoming webinar on my YouTube channel, and you'll also find the Zoom link there as well too. Now what I'll do too is I'll put it in the, after I finish today's video, I will put it in the recording. I'll put it in the video description area. So you just click on the video description area after the live today, and then you'll be able to sign up for the free Zoom registration, and you'll be able to talk to Janine live. So Janine is coming back here this Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to another great interview with her. She's going to be talking more about 2024. She's going to be taking a lot of your questions, semi-personal or general in nature as well too. So that is coming up this Friday. So you don't want to miss that. It's great to see if you can attend live so you can talk to her, right? She's one of the most popular tarot readers on the entire planet today. So being able to have her here again is always a treat. So I'm looking forward to it greatly. Okay, moving on. So we have the Bosnia tour. I have talked about this going back a couple of months, but we are getting a little bit closer to the time where, again, September 15th to 22nd of this year, I will be going on a Bosnia retreat. So this is where we'll be looking into the pyramids and ancient healing tour. I'm going to be bringing Adronis into this tour as well too. He's going to be sharing a lot of insight in regards to these pyramids. You're also going to take a lot of this high-charged scalar energy that the pyramids are able to naturally produce and bring it home with you as well too. So we're going to be looking at all kinds of incredible ancient sites looking at this ancient healing tour. We're going to be looking a lot more into this gigantic pyramid that's even bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. It's going to be an incredible packed week, I should say, 7 days, 8 nights. Again, we're teaching you guys a lot of ancient healing practices, very similar to what I've taught my students, and witnessing sacred sites and harnessing sacred power to take back home with you, right? Adronis is going to reveal a lot about Bosnia, about the Bosnian pyramids, about their influence, particularly throughout the connections with the Nephilim, with the connections of the Anunnaki, right? There's a lot of connections there. So this is going to be a memorable, once-in-a-lifetime experience to Bosnia with me. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm also going to be talking to you guys a lot more about Radiate when we get into the Bosnian trip as well too, because Radiate is also going to be a big part of the tour as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So check this out. It is at wowtours.de. It says www.wowtours.de, and you can sign up there. And like I said, we're going to have an incredible week together. I'm looking forward to it. Okay. And also for my private sessions, there we go. So I still have a little bit of space left, basically running out of time because, again, I'm going to be hanging up the private sessions here. I'm going to be moving into group sessions, right? So the private sessions are going, but there's still going to be group sessions, right? So there is kind of a semi-private nature to it because when I do the group sessions, I'll have up to about 8 people at a time and spending about 20-25 minutes with each person. As I do the group sessions, this is just, again, working together with more people on a daily basis, which is what I prefer. But again, private sessions are still good until the end of March. So again, if you guys want to sign up with me, you can go to wisdomtransmissions.com. I am actually completely sold out of the full body source healing sessions. I got them all for the end of March now. And distance healing is still available, as are 3 questions by email. And of course, if you guys want immediate distance healing, you can check out my fiance Brianne's website at trinityhomehealing.com. She is an incredible tarot reader. She is an incredible healer as well too. She's been getting so much good positive reviews as well. So I suggest checking her out as well too at trinityhomehealing.com. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. And we're going to start off with an inner practice. And like I said, this is an inner practice that I have taught before, but we're giving it a little bit of a refresher because I really want to emphasize the great benefit and importance of using something like this. And this is referred to as Hakala, right? It's a Hawaiian tradition, basically helping you to stay completely and totally present consciously, helping you to become completely and totally consciously aware. So it's quite simple to do. As I just move my chair back a little bit, I got some boxes coming in here because I'm actually starting to create a healing center downstairs. So that's going to be talked about more as we get into the start of late March. All right, so I'm going to be talking more about the healing center that is available that I'm actually starting to create, where I'll have clients coming in and they're going to be experiencing Radiate, the Regen version, Radiate Regen, which is the most advanced version of Radiate. So more on that later. I'll be talking more about that later. But that's why there's some boxes around me here, getting things ready downstairs because that's going to be our own little personal healing center. Okay, so we're going to be looking into Hakala. So the easy way to look at Hakala in that sense is I always start off with just the 2 index fingers coming right here, okay? And I want you just to do this with me, okay? Just putting your 2 index fingers right here and then just slowly moving them aside so that they are now starting to appear just in your peripheral vision, just like you're seeing them at the edge of your vision. And even though you're looking forward, I'll just move my hand here just for a little bit of convenience sake. Even though you're looking forward, you're being aware of the index fingers contained in your peripheral vision. So you're just looking ahead. You're looking ahead through your foveal vision. But through your peripheral vision, you're just being aware of the index fingers. I want you just to take 5 deep breaths in and out as you're just being aware of the index fingers, not really paying attention to what is ahead of you, but being aware of what is in your peripherals. Let's take 5 deep breaths now. So just tuning into the peripherals with your index fingers there, you're just, again, keeping yourself completely and totally centered on that awareness of the index fingers contained within the peripherals. What we would do afterwards is we just drop the fingers and we just look ahead, and rather than just trying to focus on the peripherals or just focusing on the foveal, you're taking everything in all at once through your eyesight. Okay, so that's what we're going to do right now. Just looking ahead, and I want you just to look at everything, right to the very edges of your eyes, everything that is right here, anything that's right here, anything that's right here. You're just taking in everything that your eyesight delivers to you all at once, and all I want you to do is just take it in. This does not require thought. This does not require analysis. This is just being present with your eyesight, being present with what you see. Okay, so let's do that now for 3 deep breaths in and out. And not focusing on the breath, just being aware of everything that you see now, just taking it all in. Okay, you don't have to do anything but just be aware. Just be aware of your eyesight. Simple as that. Now we have done that, we're now going to take in everything that we are hearing. Okay, so everything that you hear within your space, you're just absorbing that. You're taking that in. You are simply being aware of it. Let's do that now. What do you hear nearby? What do you hear at a distance? Take it all in now. Okay, now we're going to move on to the nose. We're just going to be aware of our breath, and we may be aware of any particular scents in the room. Anything that we scent, any scents that are nearby us, or maybe there's some scents, some smells that we can sense far away, all depending on you, right? And just being aware of the breath. So if you're being aware of your smell, you're being aware of your breath. That's all you're being aware of here and now. Okay, now we're being aware of our touch, being aware of the touch sensation. What are you touching right now? Are you sitting in a chair? You're being aware of you touching this chair. Are your feet touching the floor? You're being aware of your feet touching your floor, right? Is anything else touching you? Being aware of your clothes that are on your body. You're being aware of that touch. Everything that represents touch, you are being aware of now. Okay, very good. Now we're going to move on into taste. Okay, so just maybe tasting the saliva. If you just ate, maybe you're being aware of some of the after effects of what you've eaten, but you're just being aware of the taste sense here and now. Okay, so now that we have experienced all 5 senses, what you see, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, what you hear, now we're going to experience all 5 of them at the same time. So I want you to take in everything that you see, take in everything that you hear, take in everything that you touch, take in everything that you smell, take in everything that you taste, experiencing all 5 senses at the same time, not thinking about them, not analyzing them, just being consciously aware of all 5 senses at the same time. Okay, very good. Finally, we're going to take all of those 5 senses and we're going to make them 360-degree omnipresent. Okay, we could even say 720 if you want to. But basically, you're creating this entire panoramic of you being completely and totally aware with all of those senses, as well as just simply being aware of your entire surroundings, being able to look behind you without looking behind, being able to feel behind you without having to use your hands, being able to hear all around you, perhaps even expanding even further from what your physical senses can do. So you're now just going 360 degrees, you're now going completely and totally panoramic, just being aware of everything that is around you, taking the physical senses and pure awareness together into account here. So doing this here and now. And relax. Okay. So Brad, what is that supposed to do? Well, that is helping you to train yourself to becoming a lot more consciously aware of what your body is capable of through the expression of your senses, consciously aware of you as an omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient being. This is the nature of yourself, right? So all I'm showing you is what you truly are. Not just the idea of what you can do through this body, for this body represents an instrument, but what you're able to truly acknowledge, what you're able to truly be conscientious of as you expand your own awareness and realize, wow, there's a lot more to me than just this physical body. There's a lot more to me than what I'm just relying on through the 5 physical senses. And we're stretching those senses out because those senses, again, represent attributes. They are attributes of this physical vessel, and we're utilizing this physical vessel as an ally. It is being, in that sense, a great companion to helping us stretch out our own senses, our own receptivities, our own natural attributes that we hold through this body, but then we are also extending beyond the body and being a lot more aware consciously of what is around us throughout this panoramic that I've mentioned. So it's good to continue to practice this. It's good to practice this frequently so that you're becoming a lot more aware of yourself. You're becoming a lot more aware of your space. We all get caught up in all of these things pertaining to our life, paying bills, taking care of the kids, having to take care of rent, having to get food on the table, etc. And we need to wind down from that. We need to uncoil ourselves. And this is basically what you're doing by working together with the ancient Hawaiian practice that is referred to as Hakala, right? Being able to unwind yourself and being aware of yourself completely and totally. All right? So thank you, everybody, for joining me with that exercise. We're going to go ahead now and switch gears and move on to Adronis. Adronis is going to be coming in through a transmission. I'm not too sure what he's going to be talking about yet, but he'll let me know as we bring him through. And I will go ahead and take a moment just to bring him in, and we'll get started. So here we go. And then after that, we'll be getting right into your Q&A. Okay? All right, let's begin. Terra, Soul Star, Sirius, Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast being brought forward through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all creation, all information itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We will speak to you today about the nature of the blueprint of incarnation. Adronis, if it is indeed true that we are indeed infinite beings, that we are indeed omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, as you say, then what exactly is the point of us coming into incarnation and experiencing life in this way through some type of physical body? It is because you are experiencing everything in this physicality. It is because you are experiencing everything in this form that you are indeed reflective of what you would term as an infinite nature. You see, the infinite itself is not trying to know itself. The infinite already knows itself. It does not need to come into a physical incarnation here for the infinite to know what it already knows. You see, again, you are looking at, as you would say, two different aspects when it comes to the soul. The first aspect representing the soul would be that of what you would know as the entity soul. This entity soul has been given the nature of attributes. It has been given the nature of experience. It is being able to dream of itself. And so therefore it incarnates into these particular forms, lifetime after lifetime, to being able to explore itself, to being able to experience itself, to being able to become curious about what potentialities it can work with to help it understand itself further. This is what you would refer to as the entity soul, or the personality soul altogether. So the entity soul, the personality soul, that is the aspect of the soul that comes through the cue of incarnation, the blueprint of incarnation, to being able to have this need, this want, this discovery, this curiosity, this wanting of experience, to see exactly what potentials it can make into actuality. You see, that is what you would refer to as the personality aspect, the entity soul. That is basically what you would refer to as your own name. The name that you have been given is the name of your own entity soul. The body that you are inhabiting right now is the body of the personality or entity soul. The very nature of your existence as you are right now is the very presence of that personality, or again, entity soul. Then we look at the second aspect, which represents the nature of the true soul. You may also refer to it as the oversoul as well too. The oversoul has absolutely no interest whatsoever in regards to what you discover pertaining to lifetimes. It is not interested in the idea of involvement of life. It is simply the observer of life. It is what is anchoring your own personality entity soul to being able to have these experiences, because the personality entity soul truly wants to have all of these experiences. It wants to explore itself. It wants to be the God with attributes. Whereas when you're looking at the oversoul, it simply is God with only one attribute. And that one attribute represents witness consciousness. It is the witness body of the soul. So therefore, when you look at these two all together, they work together. Now again, the witness soul or the oversoul is being able to look at all of your lifetimes, everything that represents the infinite expression of you, simply as an observer. Well, Adronis, what exactly does the oversoul achieve by it witnessing itself? Well, that's the whole idea. It is witnessing itself because its entire nature is to witness. Its entire nature is to be aware of itself infinitely. That's it. That's all there is to it with the oversoul. That's it. Because that is what is making the oversoul the infinite nature that it is. It's like looking at a honeycomb where all around you are an infinite number of cells that all represent all facets of life being experienced all at once through the witness consciousness to which the oversoul or the witness soul itself represents. That is why it is infinite. It is not saying, oh, look at me when I was a chipmunk. Oh, look at me when I was a dolphin. Oh, look at me when I was a whale. Didn't I have beautiful skin? Isn't that a beautiful ocean that I'm swimming in? It doesn't look at it that way. It simply is aware of that. But it does not get into the involvement of the lifetimes. Think of it in the idea of sitting in the center, just being aware of the infinite expression of itself. That's it. It cannot see your involvement. It cannot see your struggle. It cannot see your suffering, and it cannot see your triumphs. Because none of those have any meaning towards the oversoul. Doesn't care about it. And it doesn't care about it because it really cannot see it. It is only aware of its own infinite beingness. That's the nature of the oversoul. That is why it is infinite, because it is aware of its infinite self. Whereas the entity soul is playing with every single one of those cells that are contained upon that infinite screen within that infinite honeycomb. It is playing with it. It is experiencing it all together. Where do you come in? You are both. You are both the witness and the experiencer. You are the experiencer and the witness. You are the witness and the experiencer. And it will continue that dance eternally, where every lifetime pertaining to the experiencer or the personality or entity soul will continue to evolve more and advance more and experience more and being able to experience with more potentiality. So there really is no reward pertaining to the idea of the oversoul. The oversoul is not here to pat you on the head and give you a cookie and say, oh, good job on that lifetime. Now, the oversoul is not some cold, as you would say, witness consciousness. It is filled with love. But again, many of you think love is what it actually isn't. And many of you feel that you need to be praised. You need to be, in that sense, encouraged. That's not love. Love does not involve praise. Love does not involve encouragement. Love involves complete and total welcoming of your being unconditionally. It is the union of yourself. We really cannot explain it accurately in words for you. Because when you actually experience pure love, to which the oversoul actually is, you're going to know what that is. You're going to feel it greatly. You will feel it within every fiber of your being when you actually come to terms with that true love. Because it is nothing like what you have defined upon your planet of what you think it is. When you think that you have a love for a loved one, that's not the love we're talking about. When you're talking about you have a love for the idea of the type of work that you do, that's not the love we're talking about. Because those are attributes. We're talking about complete and total unconditional love without attributes. And that is what the oversoul is. So you'll never be able to know what it is until you actually feel it for yourself. And the time will come where you will feel it for yourself. Which means if you are able to completely and totally be in the alignment of being with the oversoul, then you will know exactly what that feels like. But very few of you have actually done that successfully. Because you're still bringing attributes in it. To truly know the unconditional love of the attributes of, shall we say, lack of attributes to which the oversoul does not have. For you to truly be there requires you to be the witness completely. That's exactly why so many of your ancient masters have told you, be still, be silent, be in surrender. And that's all there is to it. Which means you're not getting emotional about this, you're not bringing up feelings about that, you're not bringing up thoughts about this, you're not still relating to your identity, because as we've told you, the oversoul does not have identity. Its one attribute is witness consciousness. And that is exactly where you need to be. It is not something and saying, oh, I'm this and I'm that, and I'm giving myself all of these terms, and I'm giving myself all of these definitions, and I'm identifying myself in this way. Oh, well, I can connect with the oversoul. No, you can't. Because you're not in that alignment. You're carrying too much weight. Think of it as a deep sea diver who's putting all of these heavy weights across his neck, across his shoulders, being able to shackle it onto his ankles, and you're carrying all this excess weight, and you cannot make it to the surface because you put hundreds and hundreds of pounds upon yourself, and you just keep sinking to the bottom. Well, that's the idea. And that's like the diver saying, okay, well, I'm making it to the surface, I'm making it to the surface. No, you're not. You have all of this weight that you're carrying. You need to learn to drop the weight. When you learn to drop the weight, you will come to the surface. When you come to the surface, you are now in alignment with realizing the oversoul. It is not something that you will discover for as long as you hold on to your personality. If you think that you maintaining your personality, keeping everything that you value pertaining to identity is going to lead you into the oversoul, is going to lead you to God, then you are incorrect. Because you're going to sink. Now, you decide if you wish to remain together with your personality attributes. That's up to you, because that's the entity soul. The entity soul will look into personality. The entity soul will look into encounters. The entity soul will look into experiences. It will explore potentialities. That's the entity soul. But to look at the oversoul, no. All of that has to go. And the only way you're ever going to tune into the oversoul is when you're here. Is when you are silent, is when you are still, is when you are in surrender. You let everything go. You bow to yourself. You bow to the soul. You bow to life. You bow to the oversoul. And you humble yourself through stillness, through silence, through surrender. And therefore, you will see yourself, feel yourself, be the oversoul yourself. So when you're looking at the imprint of incarnation, well, this is exactly why we've told you many times, it's like a game. You have wanted to experience the nature of the universe in all of its potentiality. Playing with the universe is no more different than playing a game. We would love to tell you that it's some big, gigantic significator that is going to change all of creation, but it won't. You're experiencing it because there is a curiosity, there is a wanting to experience it in this way. There is a wanting to bring the divine into the finite, where you are the bridge in between those two worlds, the infinite and the finite. and you're bringing it in, but you're playing a game. It's no more different than the idea of how someone wants to go and play in a sandbox, or play a game of pool, or wanting to play one of your video games in that sense, and become this character and have that particular experience, looking at it from the personality, entity, soul, who craves that, who desires that, who wants to look into its evolution, who wants to expand itself with all potentialities that it can make into actualities. That's the desire of the entity soul. That's not the desire of the oversoul. So that's the difference between this. The blueprint of incarnation all starts with the nature of intent. That your intent to work together with life comes through the wanting to be of assistance, wanting to come here, offering yourself truly for the service of others. That is really what the true entity soul will do. It wants to discover itself through others. And as it discovers itself through the environment, that's what enriches itself. And that's the entity soul's desire. And you can play with the entity soul for as long as you wish. There's no expiry on that. But for you to truly look at the grander picture comes from the point to where you are surrendering everything pertaining to personality, because that is when you see, that is when you experience, that is when you are being everyone, everything, all together, all at once. We thank you for the opportunity of this interaction. We will now conclude and return to the conduit and begin your question and answer period. Thank you. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started with questions. So hope you guys enjoyed that interaction with Adronis. So let's go ahead and start off with some donation-based questions. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the donation questions first. So again, if you guys leave donations, that will put you in priority sequence. Okay, we're going to start off with the first donation question here from Asim. Thank you, Asim. Asim says, Adronis, what was the alien sighting at Miami Mall? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much for your question in regards to what has taken place at your Miami Mall during your month of January of this year, where those of you who have looked at certain accounts and testimonials relating to what has taken place at the particular mall referred to as Bayside Mall, where you noticed that there was a considerable amount of police authority surrounding that particular mall due to an incident that surrounded certain teenagers. Where teenagers, in that sense, had this particular type of technology that represented some form of portal technology, and that they were able to open that particular box, and they were able to, in that sense, open a gateway. And through that gateway, entered three mysterious beings. And that these particular beings, in that sense, were not quite compatible with your own physical plane. That's why they were not able to show themselves fully pertaining to the nature of their appearance, because they operate on a much more different dimensional plane. They operate, in that sense, on much more higher bands. And so in that sense, it was the opening of a particular portal. Now, these beings, in that sense, meant absolutely no harm whatsoever. But a gateway was opened in that way, and they came through. What is the motive of why these beings come through? We really could not tell you. Because we cannot tell you that they even have a motive. It is the idea that the opening of the door of their dimension came, and they stepped through. No real motive, no real intention, but simply to witness everything, because nobody was harmed by these beings. Now, some of you may ask, well, Adronis, is it true that these beings are extraterrestrial? If you refer to them not being a part of your world, yes. But again, they stepped through. Now, again, there will always be explanations, there will always be assumptions about why these particular children opened up this particular box and let this portal come through. We really can't answer that for you. What is more important is the accepting that this has actually happened. What this is doing for your collective consciousness is helping you to be aware of other realms. Helping you to be aware to, shall we say, move past your ignorance, where you think everything needs to be stable and linear. And these are one of those jolt situations that are helping you to move much more into a type of higher ground, where you are looking into the nature of different dimensions, where you are looking into, again, other particular forms of entities that, again, do exist. They do not mean you any harm, but it's also giving you a little bit more of a signification of thinking that all of these beings that come from other dimensions are not always so hostile as your media, as your film, as your entertainment industry has presented quite commonly. It's helping you to see a bigger picture. And that's really all we can say about it, is that it's helping you to see something more. It's helping you to see something that your own mind could not really process. Because now you see these three enormous beings that are basically, in that sense, not able to take on their complete and total form because of the restrictions of physicality in this dimension. And this is why they were only there for a certain amount of time, because they could not stay within your dimension. It was quite incompatible for them. So it remained only in a certain time until they returned back into their own domain. But it's opening the eyes of many who never thought something like this could be possible. We would ask you to ask more questions like, what was that type of technology that could open portals? How is it that children were able to get their hands on it? How come nothing like this has ever been discussed through our mainstream science? How can an occurrence like this happen when we've never been told something like this exists? These are the questions to truly ask yourselves, rather than concerning about an event. You see, you stick to an event and you get too much in front of the scenes with it, rather looking at all of the elements surrounding it, behind the scenes, that will give you much more fruitful reward when you discover that, like the questions we've just posed to you. That's what we suggest to you. But yes, indeed, these were off-worlders. Yes, indeed, they were brought here through a portal technology. And they came in witnessing their surroundings for the certain amount of time that they had before returning back into their own domain through their own will. All right. Thank you for your question. Okay. Thank you very much, Asim, for your question. We'll go down to the next donation-based question. And this is from Golden Rule. So thank you, Golden Rule. Golden Rule says, Adronis and Brad, how are souls created? I guess I'll let Adronis take this one. I could answer, but I'll let Adronis take this one. Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Golden Rule, for your question. How are souls created? They've never been created. That's the whole idea. The nature of the infinite has never been created. Anything that is infinite does not have a beginning, a middle, and an end. When you look at your soul, knowing that it is an eternal, an infinite soul, it has never been created. How can you create something that is infinite? It can't be done. The only thing that can be created is that which is finite. It's that which exists, which has a beginning, which has a middle, which has an end. Your body is created. The earth is created, but the soul that inhabits the body, the soul that inhabits the earth, is uncreatable because it's the infinite. You cannot create the infinite. It's not possible. The infinite simply is. When you are looking at creation stories, you're looking at that which has been created by the creative. So you're looking at creative forces to which you represent truthfully. But again, you're looking at something that represents a time marker, a time dilation, a time window. And that is something that is created. So if you understand that the soul itself is infinite, it is eternal, it is impossible for anything that is infinite, rather not anything, for that which is infinite can never be created. It always is. So the answer to your question is the soul was never created. The soul is. All right? Thank you for your question. Okay. And that's basically around the lines I could say. Anything that is eternal, anything that is infinite, has no creation. Otherwise, it would not be infinite. It has a timestamp. Here's a timestamp. Here's when it was created. Here it is right now. Well, it has a beginning, it has a middle, it has an end. That represents existence. Existence is the boundary that represents the expression of something up into a certain point, where it goes through a significant change because it is under the impermanence of Maya. Right? The soul does not have that limitation, it does not have that restriction because it is the infinite. So hope that helps, Golden Rule. Thank you for your question. Okay. Okay, here's one, and thank you, a believer, for your donation. And Babito7 here asks, how is life in your realm, Adronis? How does your experience differ from that of humans, that of us humans? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Babito7, for your question. What is our life like? Well, you see, we really cannot put it to you so much in words because, you see, the problem is communication. With how you reference the nature of communication upon your planet, this is where there's challenges. Because we really cannot tell you so much about what we go through on, as you would say, a daily basis because we don't have any days. We don't have any seconds, we don't have any minutes, we don't have any hours, we don't have any days, we don't have a calendar. You see? So right there's a gap in regards to rapport. Because we humans have seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. We ourselves follow through calendars. But Adronis doesn't have any of those things. Oh, well, shh. You see what happens? There's a lack of rapport. It's not to say that you're not wondrous or curious about it, but again, that is what complicates things pertaining to your language, because your language is very linear. And so when you're asking us about what we experience the entire universe all at once. We are looking at you and everything else all at once. Adronis, I can't relate to that. Do you see why there's a barrier? Do you see why there's that gaping hole there? Because where we are is something that you can tune into, but because you hold on to certain physical and identity-based attributes that keeps you where you are, you're not able to see the big picture, as we do. So again, it's not so much of us saying, oh, well, we're in our home, we're sitting on a couch, we're just watching you through some type of monitor. No, that's not what we're doing. We literally mean that we are able to see all of you all at once, right here, right now. That we are able to look at the entire universe all at once, right here, right now. That when we come together in this form, there are some attributes that we take on so that we are able to meet Brad at some particular alignment so that he can tune into our frequency, which means we take on certain attributes, which means there is a projection happening. Imagine, if you will, a ball of light right here. This would represent us. Now, when Adronis wishes to come through and connect with Brad, here's what happens. And this portion goes down. And here is Brad's cord connecting together with us. And here is the feed coming through that energy ball that is coming through the main source of the energy ball up here. And this main source of the energy ball represents a collective consciousness, not just Sirius, you see, representing the grand source of intelligence. So yes, our people are involved in that grand source, that energy ball. But as we said, we splinter ourselves off, we come down here, we link up to the main source, and through Brad's tether that he sends, we connect. And this has been happening for so long that the tethers basically, as you would say at this point, become instinctive. So they just connect together just through the intention of Brad wanting to talk to us, and it's there. He gets himself in preparation, he aligns himself, he does his own mantra, we are connected. So therefore, this is the idea of what you can understand in a simple analogy of how we come through. What happens when we conclude our interaction with Brad? Cords disconnect, that ball returns back into the grand source where everything is omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent, where we are able to see everything, where we are able to feel everything, where we are able to taste, touch, and discover and experience everything. There are many things that we would be overjoyed to tell you about, but we cannot because of a lack of rapport, because of a lack of not being able to understand what we can share with you. There are wonders all about the universe that you have not even come close to discovering, yet your scientists think that you have it all figured out. You're not even close. You're not even close to that idea. There is so much more to this universe that has not been revealed to you. There is so much more to life that has not been revealed to you because you are at where you're at. It's like looking at a young child and trying to describe to them how to drive a car when they're not at the age to drive a car yet. It's like trying to explain to a young child about the nature and the fruits of adulthood, which they really cannot understand because they're not in that adulthood yet, and they have to let themselves get there first. And that's what we can share in a form of analogy as well too. We are able to see everything. We are able to hear, feel, taste, touch, experience everything. Well, does the attribute of Adronis have any particular interests? We do love art. We do love the idea of sharing our presence with all life. We do enjoy looking at different worlds and seeing how they come together and how they evolve. We stand in the middle between the entity soul and the oversoul. It's that middle ground, very similar to what you would understand as the higher self. That's where we stand. There are many things that we enjoy. There are many things that we appreciate without attachment. Adronis, do you experience food? Yes, we do, but not in the way that you do. Adronis, do you experience any form of leisure activities? There's no such thing from where we are. Nothing is leisure and nothing is business. Nothing is work and nothing is playtime. You see, those again represent compartments. Do you see how this gap widens? Because that is how many of you operate on your planet, and we don't. So this is why we say, yes, we do have certain considerable similarities in certain ways. We do feel as you do. We do have thoughts as you do. But they operate in a very, very different way. And that's why, again, through your own language in this way, it is very, very challenging to tell you exactly what we experience because you can't grasp it through these words. They are too linear. It's like trying to communicate with you with writing a bunch of zeros and ones on the screen. All right, well, look at these thousands of pages of zeros and ones. It's not going to be very exciting, really. But when you tune into our frequency and you align with us, very similar to how Brad does, you'll see a lot more. And that's how we truly communicate with you, is hearts together as one, our minds together as one, our being together as one. Just as we told you, that little spark that represents the attribute of Adronis merging back into the grand spark. That's what you need to do to truly grasp exactly who and what we are. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. And a lot of people have asked that kind of question about Adronis and said, oh, Brad, or Adronis, what do you experience on a daily basis? And the answer is usually the same, but this one, this answer he brought a little bit more in. So that's very, very good. So Vito, very good question. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Okay. Going down to the next donation-based question here. This is from Gordon. And Gordon, thanks for the nice donation. That was sweet. Gordon here. I was 2/24/64. I guess that's your birthday. I was hoping perhaps you could facilitate the healing of this phantom cough. Okay, so you have a healing request. Okay, so we'll get into healing here very, very shortly. We're still just going to be taking some questions for now. So I will keep you on the list there to come back to you for a healing request. Okay. All right, so that is all of our donation-based questions. So we'll again start off at the very top of the chat and just work our way down. We're probably going to do about 15-20 minutes of questions left, and then we'll get right into distance healing. Okay, so here is one from Len. Len says, Adronis, apologies to Adronis, but when he says we can now become enlightened, creator gods, right now, just how? What method do we even use? What are we not getting here as a species? What can't we see? Okay, one moment. We thank you very much, Len, for your question. We literally mean it when we say that at every particular moment, right here, right now, you can become, as you would say, as advanced and enlightened as your great teachers. What can't you see? Your own ignorance. That's really the question. And that's the answer to it. What can't we see? Being the question, what is the answer? Ignorance. The inability to strip yourselves down. The inability to not only strip yourselves down, but to maintain that stripping. Where you think that you are a mortal human on this planet, where you think that everything that represents your life gives yourself the grandest of importance about what you need to do to carry on with your errands, to carry on with your jobs, to carry on with what you think is actually important, isn't. You see, that's not what you're grasping. You're not grasping the idea that everything that you feel is important in life isn't. And now we say that to many of you and saying, well, Adronis, are you saying everything that I'm doing here really is not important? That's right. It's exactly what we're saying. Because again, you think that your home is important, you think that your bank account is important, you think that your car is important, you think that your connection of your family trying to accept you and praise you and really have that avoidance and trying to feel rejected by them is important when it's not. It's very much like what we said earlier, that when you're looking at the nature of the oversoul, everything has to be stripped down. You are that deep sea diver that keeps putting all of these packs of weights upon yourself. You're putting it in your vest, you're putting it on top of your shoulders, you're cuffing it to your ankles, you're cuffing it to your wrists, and you think that you're going to try and swim upwards when you're getting all of this weight weighing you down. And thinking that that is what's going to bring you into enlightenment, it's not. It is only until you strip away, and all you really need is a moment of clarity. When you have that moment of clarity, that stays with you. And you will do absolutely everything to give everything up so that you can have that moment of clarity again. It is very much like what your own Jesus of the Christ said to you. That a man who went out into a field and saw a treasure like the kingdom of heaven sold everything he had so that he could buy that field, so that he could have that treasure. Jesus was not using idle words here. You are ready to strip absolutely everything down because the only thing that matters is the kingdom of heaven. That's exactly what we're talking about when it comes to enlightenment. Jesus said it perfectly. When you're looking at all of these kingdom of heaven and kingdom of God parables that Jesus himself shared, 100% on the spot accurate. Because that's what you have to do. This is not something that's going to be handed to you like a precious jewel, and you can continue on to basically battle with yourself, fight with yourself, conflict with yourself, argue with life, screaming at the passing clouds as they go by, and think, well, I have this jewel, so I can continue to be like this. No, you can't, because the jewel's here 1 second, and then it's gone the next. Because you are not ready and willing to strip yourself down. That's what it takes. How do you think the masters were able to achieve what they have achieved? They've achieved because they were ready to give everything up, to therefore have everything. If you want to be given everything, give everything up. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. 100% accurate. And that is what you have to do. Now, does that mean that every single one of you are going to do it? No. Can every single one of you do it? Yes. But you don't want to. Because you think you will find your meaning through your struggles. You think you will find your meaning through your fighting, through your calamities, through your chaos. And rather than being able to learn from them, you just repeat them like a hamster on a wheel. And you're just this little hamster running up and down this wheel, thinking that you're going to find God, when therefore God is always with you. But you don't know it. Rather than looking at the truth behind these situations that are chaotic, you continue to spin the wheel. You continue to get involved with the in front of the scenes, and how you're being mistreated, and how you're being victimized, and how the world is in chaos, and etc., 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 and you waste away with these things. And you expect to move into that enlightenment by focusing on those things, such as these, and move into the summit. No. But again, as we say, every single moment that passes, you have the opportunity to change. Every single moment that passes, you can strip it all off. And very few of you do. There are some who have. There are some who have had this great moment of clarity, like that 1 second lasted an entire 100 years. And they have such clarity, and they now start shifting. They start stripping everything off. All the layers start coming down. It's like the idea of a block of clay where you're stripping off all of the unnecessities until the true form of yourself is revealed. And it's done. That clarity has already cemented that. That clarity has already assured your moment of enlightenment. But see, enlightenment is not the end. It's just the beginning. There are those of you who have already reached high states of enlightenment, and then you're wondering what to do afterwards. I have had that moment with God. Good. Bring it into your life. Live your human life, knowing that you have been in the presence of God, because that's what Jesus did, that's what Buddha did, that's what Krishna did, that's what all of these great masters have done. They have been with God, they have anchored God within themselves, and they still continued living their life for as long as they had their body. And their bodies still continue, just in another form, a form that you cannot see, because again, you are contaminated with the layers upon yourself that you think are important when they're not. And when you learn to strip off those layers, because the commitment towards you seeing that treasure that represents the kingdom of heaven, as Jesus put it, is more appealing to you than anything else on this planet is. And you will sell everything, and you will give up everything to have that moment of clarity again, to realize who and what you truly are. That is what you're missing. It's your own ignorance that cannot be identified, that cannot be realized, that cannot be recognized. And until you realize that ignorance, nobody can do anything for you. This is a self journey. You will get hints, you will get tidbits, you will get advice, you will get assistance on certain levels externally. But if you really do not see what's being said, it's going to simply brush you by. If you do not have the insight that brings about the nature of clarity, it leads to remaining where you are. That insight needs to have a touch of clarity. When it has clarity, act on it. I've been doing all of this and I realize that this has been a dead end. I'm now going to let it all go. Congratulations, you just stripped a very large layer of ignorance off of yourself. And it continues to work in that way. Is when you realize that what you have been clawing and fighting and biting yourself for is not the way, because you're listening to this and you strip it away, that is bringing you closer and closer to the realization of your true self that you have available to you right now. And if you don't think you do, intend it. Tell Spirit, just show me exactly what I'm missing. And Spirit will say, we will show you if you learn to listen. We will show you if you are truly open and receptive to what we have to say to you. Because we have said it to you again and again and again, and you deny it, and you deny it, and you deny it, and you deny it, and you ignore it, and you push it aside, and you continue to work with everything that is going south rather than what is going north, the true north towards Spirit. So this is what we can share with you. And we mean it very literally, that at any particular given moment, clarity will come to you. And that particular layer or layers of ignorance that has kept you from realizing yourself will vanish. But you have to want it. You have to desire it. You have to want it more than anything else. And that is where the treasure that represents the kingdom of heaven buried in that field is the appropriate parable to helping you understand this. That you will sell everything, that you will do anything to have that treasure in that field, so that you could buy that field and that treasure is yours. Behold God. And that is what we're talking about. That is what your masters have been talking about for generations. All right? It's nothing new. This is not some cutting edge thing, like enlightenment is such a new thing. It's older than you are. It's older than your planet is. It's older than life. But at some particular point, it will touch you. Why not invite it in now and be open and listen when it comes? All right? Thank you for your question. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Len, for your question. It's a very good, you guys got really good questions today. You're on fire. Well done. Okay, so here's one from Alina. Alina says, Adronis, if souls make different plans like plan A and B to accommodate for the free will thing in their life contract, how that is monitored if people's lives are changed as do their frequency. I'm not too really sure what you're asking. Okay, I would like to know how I can access my other me in different timelines. Whose talent I would like to incorporate in my... So you got three different things here. Jonas, how can our conscious visit our spiritual guides and higher self for advice outside the matrix without having to have an NDA to visit that frequency or density? Okay. So Alina, you're basically asking a lot of these questions, but they're kind of jumbled a little bit. Okay. So I'm not too sure what you're trying to ask for the first question. If souls make different plans like plan A and plan B to accommodate for the free will thinking in their life contract. Okay, this is where there's a distortion. There's some mess here. Okay, you have to understand that free will, again, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm basically just going to kind of answer this for you because Adronis has talked a lot about this. Okay, free will is something that is constantly being sought for and something being used as a kind of like a get out of jail free card. Okay, free will only exists because of confusion. Okay, I have said this for years, that really if you're abiding by the nature of free will, you don't really know what your willpower is, because it's not about free will. Why would will need to be free when it's a power within yourself? It's like asking yourself, well, I need freedom. You already are free. You are infinite, right? So this is why I say free will is much more of an illusion than anything else. It's not about free will. It is about willpower, okay? Willpower, because that is the power that you are exercising, okay? So if you make a plan like plan A and plan B to accommodate for the free will in their life contract, well, what makes you think you have to do that? Because again, all you're doing is playing hopscotch here with these things. You are putting in your mind that you have to accomplish this and then you have to accomplish that, okay? Who is it that gave you that decision? Who made that decision for you? Nobody. That is your decision. Your plan A is your plan A. Your plan B is your plan B. And you think you need to have it in that alignment. And that you think you have to accomplish it in that way. And that's a distortion. How about you let Spirit take care of what needs to be done and you just follow through with it? Right? So when I get, for example, the download to create Radiate, I basically let Spirit just lay it out for me. Okay, Brad, go ahead and get these people to help develop the app, put all these things into it that needs to be put in together and make it happen. Okay, I will do that, I will do that, and I will do that. You see how the blueprint itself actually comes from the greater self. Okay, it's not my ego coming in here, because sometimes I'll even look at the app with Radiate and I'll say, okay, there's some things here that need to be tweaked. And I'm getting this impulse to tweak some of these things. Okay, so basically you have to let Spirit lead the charge. Now again, I'm not too sure if this is what you're asking, because your question is a little bit confusing. Okay, so how that is monitored if people's lives are changing as do their frequency. People's lives are changing based upon the decisions that they make. Okay, so when you look at frequency, Alina, frequency is a very, very relative thing. It's changeable. It's like water. Okay, you can go in the ocean and you can start creating disturbance and you can make as many waves as you want when it comes to frequency. Frequency is infinite potential. What you align together to the frequency to make into manifestation becomes actuality. So it's not about trying to justify frequency, right? When you're going through change, are these changes coming through Spirit or are they coming through your own ego? If I'm looking at a plan A to get to plan B, did I come up with that or is that Spirit's plan? Right? This is the things you got to ask yourself. It's not so much about just looking at a generic plan A and a generic plan B. And again, accommodating for free will. Forget free will. Free will is an illusion. Free will is based on confusion. Free will is based on choice. That's what free will is. You might as well just say choice. If I see free will here, I might as well just put choice right here. And the reason why I say choice is an illusion is because choice is not what brings things about. Choice is potentiality. Free will is potentiality. Okay? It is not actuality. The only thing that's actuality is you making a decision and taking action upon it. You take action upon the decision, and that is what grounds and manifests into your life. So you're taking all of the ideal concepts of the causal, you're manifesting them through the astral, and you're experiencing them from the physical. The causal, the astral, the physical. That's how it works. That's the relationship of nature. Free will doesn't mean anything. It's just saying I have choices. I have choices. I can walk through this door, I can walk through that door, I can walk through this door, I can walk through that door. Who cares? What does Spirit want you to do? Spirit wants me to walk through plan B. Good. Go to plan B. Go to door number 2. And you open it up without question, and you go through, and you're trusting where Spirit is leading you, because Spirit's putting these little golden breadcrumbs right down on the floor with you. Just follow that. Trust me, and it's going to take you exactly to where you need to be. You're going to experience some hurdles in the way, but keep the faith of letting Spirit guide you. And when you do that, you'll see these hurdles, and you'll being told exactly what you need to do. Let it go. Let it go. Say no to that situation. Let it go and release it. Hurdle number 1 gone. Here's hurdle number 2. I know I've had problems with that. Shh. Look at it. See what it for what it is. Yeah. Take a deep breath. And just see beyond it. What's beyond that hurdle? The light. Okay. So all I want you to do right now is I want you just to completely and totally surrender to this. To let it go. Can you let it go? 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 Yes. Hurdle number 2 is gone. You walk the path. Here's the light. That's what Spirit is trying to tell you. Spirit's not trying to give you shortcuts, as it were. They are, in that sense, a lot more speedier than trying to go through the physical, logical path where you're letting your ego guide you, which is the blind leading the blind. Okay? And you're falling into more pits, and you're just putting more hurdles in front of you that do not need to be there. Or you can let Spirit guide you and talk to you every step of the way, where everything gets dissolved and before you comes the light. And this is it. Because, I used to do that. I used to, again, trample over ego and thinking that the ego needs to run the show, and then basically getting all these pitfalls that did not need to happen. So they're not shortcuts. They're just saying, here's the door that leads more so towards where you want to be, and here's all the other doors that are just going to be a bunch of pitfalls. If you learn to listen to Spirit, you go through that door, you go through a couple of hurdles, and you go into the light. Because Spirit is helping to direct you through the hurdles. It has done that with me many times, right? So really what this comes down to is, guys, do not concern about a plan A, a plan B, a plan C that you are trying to develop yourself through the nature of trying to accommodate free will, because free will is useless. It is nothing but choices, right? I will let Spirit make the choice for me. I will let Spirit guide me, and that will be my decision. And you're free. But in order for you to do that, you need to accommodate Spirit to connect with you. And how do you do that? By learning to strip away the layers, just exactly as what Adronis told you. That's what it takes. You strip away the layers. You take away all these things that you feel the ego is running the show here. And that how many times have we created something where we feel so incredibly joyful about it that Spirit's light is radiating through it? Have we done that with every single thing that we've created? Probably not. And that's why you struggle. Everything you touch should be through the hand of Spirit. Everything that you bring into the world should be a light that radiates Spirit, which means it's that goodness. It's that naturalness. It's that authenticity. It's that love. It's that compassion that you're bringing out, whatever it may be, whether it's a work of art, whether it's a new technology, whether it's a service that you're offering, whatever it may be. Let Spirit light shine through it. And then you can let go of the distraction of free will. Okay? From my perspective and from what I've learned over the years, free will is nothing but a distraction, and it doesn't even really exist. It's just choice. It's nothing but potential. Okay? Free will equals potential. Choice equals potential. What is actuality? That's decision. And that's what you need to focus on. Okay? So hopefully that made sense with your question. Okay? All right. You also asked, how can our conscience visit our spirit guides and higher self for advice outside the matrix without having an NDE to visit that frequency or density? We thank you very much, Alina, for your question. Your guides choose to visit you. You don't decide to visit them. All right? Your angels decide to visit you. You don't decide to visit them. Spirit decides to visit you. You don't decide to visit Spirit. Is this putting things in perspective to you? Because you have to look at when you see the idea of spirit guides, when you see the idea of angels, when you see the idea of the true nature of spirit, you're looking at the infinite. Because within that spirit guide is the soul that you are. Within that angel is the soul that you are. Within spirit is all of life, all that is as one. Do you think the conscious ego self has any say over that? None at all. For you to be humbled, for you to be in your center, aligns you to the bliss, to the joy, to the compassion, to the heart, to the nature of spirit in all the forms it chooses to take. It cannot be there if you're letting the ego run the show. This is not about going beyond a matrix, because that is an illusion. When you're looking at a matrix, you're looking at yourself. How can you go beyond yourself? Because when you're looking at the nature of a matrix, you're looking at your mind and you're looking at certain layers. And you think that those dark, deep, disturbing layers are all that represent the matrix? No. The universe is the matrix. Everything that you know you are pertaining to every single attribute is a matrix. A matrix is a thought. And there are a bundle of thoughts. There are clusters of thoughts that make up the webbing that represents what you call the matrix. And many of you will assign fear vibrations into the matrix, thinking that you are here in the sludge. Well, in a way you are. Because that's all you think the matrix represents. Okay, I've gone outside the matrix, now what? Yes, exactly, now what? You'll see another matrix. That's how it works. You're going out of the bowels of that particular matrix, and you're coming much more higher into the realization about how the web of the matrix itself works. Because so many of you talk about getting out of the matrix, escape the matrix. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're only talking about the idea of the matrix where you feel slavery is, where you feel duality is, where you feel pain and suffering is, but that's not the entirety of the matrix. You're just bundled up in the cobwebs of it. You've taken yourself and you've spun it around, and now you cover yourself in cobwebs. How do I get out of the matrix? You're not getting out of the matrix. You're getting out of the cobweb that you've spun yourself in. It is not about escaping a matrix. You are the matrix. You see? So this is not about that. This is what you often refer to as your, shall we say, hollow conspiracies relating to a matrix, because you are partially correct. There is a lower bowels representing that aspect of matrix, but you're playing in it all the time. You're rolling in the mud. I'm a victim, 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 victim. And you cover yourself in mud and filth because you keep dwelling on it. Because you keep bringing it into yourself and you saturate yourself with the filth until you learn to clean yourself off and realize, I'm getting off this whole escape matrix propaganda, and I'm coming into realizing what the matrix actually is. And now when I am humbled, when I am centered, when I am in surrender, my guides, my angels, the divine light of spirit comes to me based on its decision to come to me. The ego doesn't call the shots. If you are truly in harmony and humbled to connect with spirit, the harmony speaks for itself. It has no wants, it has no needs, it has no desires. It simply is humble. And it is to the humble, it is to the meek that spirit comes to you. This is what you must understand. Rather than having all these demands and wanting and desiring and all this stuff, you're wasting your time. It is not about desiring and wanting and feeling like you have to command everything from an ego perspective. The love of your heart speaks for itself. It longs for spirit, but it does it in humility. And that, again, is where so many of you trip over your own feet. Thinking that the ego is going to call the shots, and the ego is going to bring in spirit, and the ego is going to bring in my guides, and the ego is going to bring in my angels, and the ego is going to bring in my archangels, and so on and so forth. No, 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 no. Because you are connected into your own bubble where you feel that the ego is running you ragged. You need to burst that bubble. You need to clean yourself out of the cobwebs. You need to give yourself a good clean shower and shower off all of that filth and debris that you have constantly put upon yourself through victimhood and blame and abuse and hurt and abandonment and rejection, thinking that you need to escape something. What are you trying to escape? There's nothing here to escape from. It's all you. Life is you. But you are only aligning to a certain factor of life. You're looking into the sludge. You're trying to learn how to survive when we are teaching you how to live. That's the difference that we want all of you to truly contemplate here. Do you want to survive? Or do you want to live? Do you want to wake up every single morning in misery? Or do you want to wake up every single morning in love, compassion, and joy? Well, guess what? The decision is yours to make. But when you make that decision, let it come from here rather than here. That's what we can share to you regarding your question, Alina. All right? Thank you very much. Okay, great. Thank you very much, Elena. Jeez, it's 11:30, so we need to wrap up for the Q&A, guys. Thank you for all of your questions. They were all great questions. I really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to healing requests. Okay, so I know I had Gordon here with a healing request, and then we'll take 2 more people, then we'll go into group Q&A. Okay, so again, back to Gordon's question. You said about a phantom cough. It has been with you since the late 90s. It is not medical, but it's uncontrollable when I pray, sing, or meditate. Well, a lot of this has to do with the throat chakra. Okay, so whenever you're noticing that you're getting that when you pray, you're singing, when you meditate, that means that even though you're wanting that, something else within you is saying no. Okay, so basically that's what you have to come to terms with. So I can help you with dislodging that altogether, but once that's dislodged, you have to look at it. Okay, because there's something here that represents a shunning of yourself. There's something here that represents from your past, from your younger age, I feel, about something you shunning yourself. A phantom cough that we get, because believe me, guys, I've worked with plenty of you with phantom coughs. Okay, and I get that too. Sometimes, like when I've led live meditations in person through events, I get a lot of people. And I asked them afterwards, are you okay? Oh yeah, I just get this kind of phantom cough every now and then. Well, do you know why that's come up? Because part of you is in denial about the path that you're walking. That's why. You haven't yet come to terms about fully walking the path that you've decided to walk. And that's why there's interruption. Okay? You need to look at that past self within yourself that says, I need to follow this path instead. I need to move more into a material path. I have a grudge against somebody. I have a hurt against somebody. I'm suffering still in regards to this event that has taken place, that has reached my decision to walk this path, but I have not basically tied up all the loose ends. Okay? Some of your loose ends are not fully tied up. And Gordon, that's basically what you're going through. Okay? You need to tie up your loose ends. You need to look at anything that represents restrictions in the past that feels like it is contradictory to the path that you're walking now. And that's what you need to make terms with. Okay? So to do that, that's where you're looking inside yourself. You're looking into that. Even when you feel that cough coming up, right? Look into it. What is it meaning? What is it? What is fighting with you? Because that is telling me that there is a dualism between the path that you're walking right now and the path that you have walked before. And there's a knot in the middle. You basically tried to bypass that knot to try to go over here, but that strain, that swelling of the knot hits you, right? It's like a garden hose where you're trying to get a little bit of water coming out of the garden hose, but you got this big gigantic kink over here that you haven't seen yet. Okay? Unkink the hose. When you unkink the hose, the water flows beautifully. That's what you have to do for yourself. Okay? So what I'm going to do for you, Gordon, is I'm going to show you what that kink is right now. Okay? So Gordon, get yourself nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. Okay? Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Don't worry about if you cough or not. Okay? It's fine. Okay? And I will go ahead now and connect with Spirit, and we're going to show you what the source is to that phantom cough. And I want you to pay attention between now and the next 24 hours. It's going to come to you. If you don't know what it is, it's going to come to you. Okay? So let's go ahead and do that now. Here we go. Okay, so Gordon, I could feel something jostling in you, right? It's like a hand that's holding you like this, right? And maybe it has a little bit of a hole in it where some steam can escape, okay? But something's grabbing you like this, okay? And it's really a tight grip. It's not the tightest grip I've seen, but it's a pretty tight grip. And whenever you start going into prayer, whenever you start going into meditation, okay, or you're singing, bringing your joy out, there's the grip, okay? And that grip is your own phantom hand, okay? Something about what you're doing right now is telling you, don't do anymore. Don't do anymore. It's a pain of the past. So it's going to reveal itself to you, okay? Once it reveals itself to you and you feel it, maybe you see it, maybe you sense it, okay? All I want you to do, follow your breath, okay? And I just want you to look at that and saying, can I release it? Can I let this go? And if the answer feels like no, all I want you to do is Om chant directly towards what that is. Om chant, Om chant, Om chant, just mentally. Om, Om, Om. Okay, and every time you're chanting Om, it's like you're seeing the brilliance of spirit light just holding that iron hand that's trying to grab you like this. Okay, and you're just loosening it and loosening it and loosening it. And now it's loosened to the point where you can ask yourself, can I let this go? And you do. And then it will be gone. It will be gone for good, as long as the pattern that brought it there does not repeat. Okay? So let me know how that goes. You can always contact me. If you go to wisdomtransmissions.com, go to the contact page. You can contact me there if you want to give me an update. Okay? Thank you very much, Gordon. Blessings to you. Okay, let's go up the chat. I'm just going to be looking for healing requests right now, guys. We're going to do 2 more. Then we're going to do a group healing, and then we're going to wrap up. Okay? So again, guys, reminder that tomorrow I will be on the Signpost Live. So that's on Rumble. So again, you can go to rumble.com/signpostlive, and you can tune into the channel there. And again, I'll be on at 10 a.m. Pacific tomorrow morning for current events Signpost episode. And then this Friday, we have Janine, okay? Friday at 11 a.m. right here on YouTube. Again, make sure you're on Zoom because I'm only going to be taking questions from people on Zoom, okay? And I'll have that up when I finish today's recording, or today's live here. Okay, here's one from a believer. A believer says, can you send healing for heart pain and breathlessness for a believer? Okay, so yes, we will go ahead and do that now for you, believer. I'll just call you believer if that's okay. Okay, so believer, just go ahead and get yourself nice and relaxed, nice and comfortable. Okay? Take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and I want you just to place your right hand right on your heart. Okay? And I want you just to feel its rhythm. I want you just to feel yourself connecting with the heart. Even if you physically can't feel the rhythm, I want you to energetically feel it. Just feel that pulse of the heart. Okay? All I want you to do is, while I'm doing this work on you, I just want you to say to your heart in your mind, I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay? Believe if you can do that, that's going to make this experience even more joyful and even more expansive and stronger. Okay? Let's go ahead and do this now. Okay, so charge has been sent to you, believer. Okay, thank you very much for your request. Just let Spirit work with it as it needs to. You can, again, update me if you want to. Again, wisdomtransmissions.com. Go to the contact page. You can email me there if you like. Okay, completely up to you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to take one more request. Okay. And let me just see if I go down the list a bit more and see who I find. Okay, I'm just going to go down a little bit more. Okay, I think Everything Interesting here has a request. Everything Interesting says, I have a healing request for a friend with blood cancer. Okay. So you don't have to mention the friend's name. Sometimes it helps, but that's okay. Everything Interesting. I'll just refer to you as EI, if that's okay. Just your initials, EI. Okay, and I'll just refer to your friend as EI's friend. Okay, as you said, he or she has blood cancer. I wasn't sure if it's male or female, but I will work with your friend here. So it's going to be sent through you and then to your friend. So EI, what I want you to do right now is I want you just to keep your spine nice and straight, have both feet firmly planted on the floor. And I want you now just to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, and I want you to think of your friend as you're breathing in and breathing out. I want you to think of him or her and just have them in your awareness right now, because I'm going to work with you as the medium, as the bridge. Okay? So if you can do that for me and just hold that thought for your friend, then we will be able to send that distance healing request for him or her. Okay? Here we go. Okay, it is done. So EI, you can let me know how things go if you want to. Again, update is there. If you want to give me an update, that's fine. Through, email message. Thank you very much for your request. Okay, guys, so that wraps up our individual distance healing. We're now going to go ahead and do a group healing together. So we're going to do the forgiveness ball again this week. Okay, so I have taught the forgiveness ball going back several weeks for previous episodes back when it was Newer TV Live. Okay, so we're going to do that together today. So all I want you to do right now is we're just going to either use your right or your left hand, doesn't matter which. Okay, just starting off at the top of your head, and just imagine like there's a fine beam just being projected through the palm of your right or left hand. Okay, and you're just imagining that coming down. Okay, and you're just feeling the energy of that beam going through the entire body. Just from the top of your head, going all the way down to the bottom of your feet. Okay? Okay, once it reaches the bottom of your feet, you're now just aware of anything physical, anything emotional, anything mental. Now, you can also do this for a loved one. Okay? So if a loved one is on your mind and you want to do this scan for them, it's kind of like you're just seeing them holographically within your mind, and you're just scanning their body. And you may already know exactly what they want to clear away. Okay? Like I said, we can't clear away the emotional core situations with people. Okay? That's something that needs to come through cooperation. But if you're noticing they're going through some physical stuff, right, some emotional stuff on the surface, we can put that into the forgiveness ball as well too. Okay, so after you've scanned yourself, if you want to scan a loved one, a friend, a colleague, whatever it may be, okay, whoever it may be, and scan them as well too. And we're just forming a ball, okay, just about the size of a basketball. Okay, and I want you to put all of your debris that you were able to scan for yourself, and if you decide to scan another, putting all of their debris on the surface into the ball as well too. Okay, and you're just doing this out of loving service. Okay, and I want you just to take a moment, just like we did earlier, pertaining to Hakala, where you're just taking everything in all at once right now, just for a few moments, doing this now. Just taking in everything at once, absorbing it all into you at the same time. Okay, very good. This is helping you to become clear, okay? Helping you to become centered, helping you to become consciously aware that you are here and now, okay? So now that we have this ball in our hands and all of that debris is in it, we're now just going to say one word, and that's forgiveness, okay? So I want you to look right into the core, right into the center, right into the nucleus of that ball, and just saying to it with your mind, forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. And as you feel that power of saying forgiveness mentally to the ball, your hands almost feeling like they're moving themselves. As you keep saying forgiveness mentally to the center, you're just feeling your hands starting to come closer and closer together. Forgiveness, 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 forgiveness. And once they touch, okay, putting it in prayer position and just lifting it up with one last big forgiveness. Forgiveness. Okay, sending it off into the ethers, letting the ethers absorb it, returning it back into the ether. Okay? Once you have done that, take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Feel free to again revisit Hakala. Go back into absorbing all the senses all at once within yourself and feeling that panoramic presence consciously here and now through your awareness. All right. Blessings to all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Wisdom Transmissions Gathering. Hope to see you all tomorrow and for Friday when I bring Janine on. And have a great rest of the day. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you all. Take care for now. Bye-bye.